See him a beast when he hear that sound like yeah, beat on the beat when he hear that sound like woo. Yeah, bitch and the champ only need one round like ha. Yeah, me, I'm a G bring heat in the sound like
Mike Owens here, and today I'm joined by Sam Patterson, who returns to action and making his UFC debut at UFC 286, facing Yanal Ashmoz. Sam, great to sit down and chat. How are things at you today?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Bit tired, just finished 3 sessions today, but everything is good. And thank you very much for having me back on.
The pleasure's all mine. Look, I've got you in nice and early. We've got 6 weeks until the fight, but how are emotions in the lead up to what is the official UFC debut?
Yeah, like I'm trying to keep the excitement under control because I don't want to get too excited too early, and then it's like you've still got 6 weeks, like I've still got, like I'm trying to keep it all under control. But I am buzzing. I can't even lie, like I'm training my ass off and I can't wait to go out there and just show the world how good I am.
Look, this is a homecoming in many ways. You've obviously had your long-standing career in Brave, then had the Contender Series fight in Vegas. Does it feel any more special, the fact that the official UFC debut is also on home soil?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, It's like it's a story. It'll be a story to tell at the end of my career. Like I went away and traveled to all these countries, racking up wins and fights to come home and fight for the biggest organization in the world. It's like what dreams are made of. So yeah, I'm buzzing to come home and have my UFC debut. The place that I said I would get to have my UFC debut on my own soil, like on home soil, it's amazing. I can't actually wait. I'm buzzing to just walk out, embrace every single moment, and get the job done.
Let's say that this timeline was a year ahead and you were still in Brave doing all the wonderful stuff over there. How would you spend the evening enjoying UFC 286, not as a participant but as a fan?
Well, seeing the price of tickets, I'm probably watching on Fight Pass. I'm not going to lie, like they're pretty pricey. So yeah, I wouldn't have been going along unless someone got me a ticket. But yeah, I would have just enjoyed it as a fan. I always like the UK cards because I like supporting like other UK fighters and seeing them do well. So I would have definitely tuned in and watched the card. And obviously watching the Leon versus Usman rematch would have been up there anyway, whatever country that would have been in. So yeah, being in the UK, probably, I think it's prime time if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be UK time, which means I would have been literally chilling and just watching it at normal time, not waiting until 3 a.m. So yeah, if I wasn't on the card, I would have been doing that. But now I get the best seat in the house. I get to be in the cage, doing what I do, and then I get to watch the card afterwards. Like it don't get much better, really.
Well, this is one of the subjects I wanted to mention because I've had this conversation a couple of times with Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood, for the longest time, or for a short period, was the only London-based fighter in the UFC. Obviously, you're based in Watford. So what is the kind of commute like to the O2? And obviously, will you sleep in your own bed prior to fight night? What's the fight week structure like for you being so close to home?
It's easy. It's easy getting to the O2. It's like a train ride, literally. It's simple. But I'm going to be up there like a normal fight week. I want to embrace every single second of it. Like I want the media, the being in the fighter hotel, like being around the other fighters in the UFC and stuff. I want to embrace every single second of it. So I'll spend the week up there as if it was a normal fight week. It's quite nice that I don't have to go to the airport and travel on a plane for 5 to 6 hours or however long to another country. I literally can get on the train, head up into London and spend the week in a hotel. So yeah, it'll be no different for me. I like that disconnect. I like being in like surrounded by fighters. I like getting like tunnel vision and tuned in. And yeah, this will be no different.
100%. Size up your opponent for me. What have you seen on him in terms of the tape? And give me your tape study if you like.
Yeah, I watched his last fight just to get an idea of like his kind of like body type and stuff. And again, it was last year. It was like a year to the date or something he wouldn't have fought. So it's not, I don't take too much from his skill set because if he's been in the way I look at it, if he's improved as much as I have in a year, he's going to be a total different fighter. Like I'm not the same fighter I was last year, so he probably isn't. So I can only go off his structure, like his stature and his kind of build and stuff. And he's very similar to guys I fought before. Like it's very rare that I go against someone that's 6'3", my height in the lightweight division, even though the last guy was pretty tall as well. So yeah, I think he's going to be tough, durable, and he's got that undefeated confidence. He's 6-0. He hasn't lost yet, so he's got that undefeated confidence. And it's a good fight for me. It's a good homecoming fight for me. And I believe I go out there and I get to showcase all my skills in this fight.
What's kind of been the key focus for camp in this fight? Because obviously, as you mentioned, there's not too much recent tape to go off on your opponent, so you can't really, in many ways, game plan for a specific style too much. So what has been the key focus for this camp?
Yeah, to be honest, most of my camps are focused on me. I would say 95% of my camps, we focus on me and my skill set. And we truly believe if I go in there and do what I do, then there's not a lot of people that can beat me, you know? So that is pretty much what we've gone off. And yeah, that's all we can. Like, again, I'm preparing for the toughest fight of my career so far, which I always do, regardless who I'm going against. And yeah, I've been in the gym just fine tuning all my skills, adding to my skills. Like between my last fight and this fight, I've like grown leaps and bounds in like all areas of the game. So I look forward to going out there and showing a new level I am. Not so much what my opponents do.
Obviously, you have great training partners down at Team Crossface with the likes of Charlie Leary, and obviously, I know UFC commentator John Gooden spent some time in the gym as well. Have you done any traveling out of the gym and went to spar with other people and get other looks for this camp, or is it primarily been at your home base?
Yeah, it's been at home, this one. We had people come in and stuff like that for sparring, but at the same time, I had a little chip on my shoulder. I didn't want that to be the narrative. I didn't want me traveling to another team for sparring and stuff to be that, oh, he's gone to train here for his training camp. I kind of wanted to prove that you can get to like with the team I've got around me, I have got to the UFC. And now I want to prove that I can win in the UFC with my team. So yeah, I've got great training partners and sparring partners that push me every day. And I don't see it like I believe my team have got me to this point, and I will go in there and win in March and show that I've done it with my team, Team Crossface. There won't be a narrative that I traveled somewhere else for sparring. Maybe after this fight, I'll start reaching out and getting sparring, but we probably have sparring partners come in more than traveling out, but we will see. We'll just see each fight till it comes. Yeah, this one being at home, there was no reason to travel anywhere. It would have been nice to go up to Birmingham. I've been there before to train with Leon and stuff. And they've got a few guys on the card. But again, I didn't want that to be the narrative. So I'm really focused on being at home with the team around me that got me to the UFC and going out there and winning with the team that I've got.
No, that makes total sense. And obviously, as you mentioned, your team got you obviously all the way up to the Contender Series fight and through the Contender Series victory. Can you reflect on your performance that got you the UFC contract earlier last year?
Yeah, the performance wasn't one of my best, I don't believe, but I done what I had to do to win, you know, like I had no doubt that I'd find the finish in 15 minutes, and I said it before and I went in there and done it. The guy was very good. Like he was high level, coming from a great team. I think he's from King's MMA, so he trains with like Martin Vettori and some of the big names over there. So he's around UFC athletes all the time. And there wasn't much to go off on him, you know. There weren't much footage, there weren't nothing. So I didn't know his kind of style. So it was a kind of a adapting period in the first round. I believe I was trying to find my footing and range and everything, and he done very well in the first round. But that's just my kind of game anyway, you know. Like once I figure you out, get the range and start upping the pace, it becomes me taking over and I start to find the finish. And that was no different. And it was good enough to get a UFC contract. So I can't really complain. I was very hard on myself, but I am when I go in there and dominate, you know. Like I'll come out there, the first thing I'll say is something that I've done wrong more than what I've done right. And I believe that's what keeps me improving. That keeps me motivated to get better and better, instead of thinking like my win streak at the moment is quite high. I'm on a win streak, but I couldn't tell you how many, because I honestly go back to the gym straight away as if I lost every fight, trying to make the improvements so I keep winning, you know. And that mindset is the reason I keep winning. So yeah, it was a great fight. I got the finish, which I always look for, and I'm glad that I do, because I don't like to go to decisions. So yeah, and Dana obviously liked it because he gave me the contract.
And obviously, it's a very tense moment, that kind of post-fight but pre-announcement moment on the Contender Series. Did you know in your own heart of hearts that you'd done enough to get the contract, or was there any doubt in your mind that this mightn't go my way?
No, I believe I done enough. You know, I didn't even, because by the time I got to that seat where he starts, and he was already talking, so I didn't get time to sit there like the first couple of guys that have been sat there for a while. There was only Bo Nickel fighting after me. So by the time I got round, done all the medical checks, got round to that seat, Bo Nickel's fight was done, and Dana had already started talking. So by the time I didn't really have time to start thinking about it too much, and I was pretty confident. You know, like I dealt with some adversity. It was action packed, and I got the finish. You know, and it was a rear naked choke, so it wasn't just a lucky finish. I had to set that finish up. You don't fall into a rear naked choke. You have to set a rear naked choke up. So I believe the fact that I dealt with adversity in the fight and come back and showed heart and showed that I could win and still finish. I was pretty confident. Yeah, I was going to be signing with the UFC. The whole training camp was the mindset. So there was no doubt in my mind that I was getting that UFC contract.
With that being said, if we turn the conversation to the upcoming fight, obviously, as we mentioned a couple of times, this is the debut. This is the first fight under the official banner. And I know that your prime importance of yours is to get the finish. But with that being said, is part of this fight getting your feet under the table and almost taking any win that comes, or are you still going to go out there guns a-blazing and trying to get that stoppage inside the first 15?
Yeah, like the way I fight isn't guns blazing. I go in there calculated. I go in there with a high fight IQ, and I systematically find the finish. You know, like I'm not going there guns blazing, hoping that I just hit the guy and I win. You know, like balls to the wall. That isn't my style. I'm very calculated, and I believe I've got a very high fight IQ. So I do what I do. The finish comes. I just don't think a lot of people can keep the pace that I keep, and if they do, they can't keep over 3 rounds. And once you start getting into those later rounds, you start making mistakes. I capitalize on those mistakes, and that's where the finish comes. I don't believe that I force anything too much trying to hunt for finishes. I just believe I've got that in me, you know, like some people don't have that finishing instinct, and I'm lucky and gifted enough that I've got that in my arsenal, you know. So this will be no different. That's what will happen. If it goes 3 rounds, it'll be a dominant 3 rounds. That's how I look at it. But if I keep the pace I keep, I don't think a lot of people can last the 3 rounds without making a mistake and me capitalizing on it.
No, I agree 100%. And obviously, this is a massive moment for UK MMA. I think only the second pay-per-view certainly in terms of the 200s. I can't quite recall how many have been on UK soil, but there haven't been many. In years gone by, this moment that you've got ahead of you might be in a more strategic position on the card. It might be more better placed, perhaps even on the main card. What does it say about the state of UK talent in terms of how stacked the card is, and in many ways even how big of a fight moment yours is for the card, that it might be in the strategic position as some of perhaps the others. Yeah,
like look at the UK scene. Just like even the last couple of UFC events, they used to come once a year. Now they're coming twice a year to the UK. What they did last year, excuse me. The UK scene is just hot, and I truly believe that it's just going to keep growing. The way that we've got like a whole UFC card now full of UK guys, like that wasn't like that before. You'd have like the one or two, but now the whole entire card could be UK fighters, and a high level as well. We come to fight, and I believe our skill set and the level of martial arts is so much higher than what it used to be back in the day. And yeah, Leon being champion from the UK, doing it from the UK, just puts the UK scene on up there, you know, thanks to him going out and showing that he could do it, puts a lot of confidence in the other guys that are coming, like Arnold Allen, like you said, Nathaniel Wood. These guys are the elite of the elite and showing they can do it from UK soil. So yeah, it's massive. And obviously the more it grows, the more opportunity for other UK guys coming up. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. I'm glad to be on this card. I said it at the last UFC event I went to and I watched it. I said the next time they come to the UK, I would be in the cage, and lo and behold, it's come true.
With that being said, and this is the next question I'd like to ask, we have a massive domestic fight on the card between Nathaniel Woods and Lerone Murphy squaring off against each other. Now, with that being said, there's quite a lot of British lightweights in the UFC at the moment. You think about, obviously, Paddy Pimblett doing his own thing, but the likes of Jai Herbert, Marty Casey, Chris Duncan also making his debut on the same card as you. Do those domestic fights interest you in the future, or is it more let's all of us Brits build each other up together?
Yeah, like I actually was I like both Lerone Murphy and Nathaniel Woods styles. Like I like tuning in to watch them fight, and I was kind of gutted like to put two UK guys again. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a great fight, and it will be a great fight, but to put them against each other in their hometown, I was kind of like, come on, there's enough people on this roster that you could bring someone over. We don't have to fight each other anymore. That's what the local and domestic scene, like the lower level organizations have to do, because they can't afford to fly people in and stuff. So that's when we used to fight each other. That's why no one used to train with each other, because you'd end up fighting someone from that team, But in the UFC, I didn't see it coming. I didn't think that it's a great fight, but I didn't see it coming. And with other UK lightweights on the card, obviously they are the competition. I would personally like to us all grow together and fight everyone else and like kind of grow as as the UK country, But it's the UFC, you know what I mean? If they come across with a name on the contract, I'm never going to turn down a name, Like I never have and I never will. But I'd like to see the UK scene grow together. I don't think the Nathaniel and Lerone Murphy fight loses any stock for either of them. I think it's going to be a great fight. But it's like two prospects coming up, and it's kind of like you're taking one out. And it's like just taking one out for the UK. Obviously, one's going to go up, one's going to maybe stay at the level and have to fight someone else, because there's always a winner and a loser. So, yeah, it kind of halts someone's career from that next level, but obviously grows someone else's. So it's a tough one for them, but hey, I'm a fan at the end of the day, and it is a great fight, so let them go.
100%. And obviously, you've mentioned the poster boy, the man who's brought this pay-per-view to the UK, and Leon Edwards. Does he get it done? Does he beat Usman in the trilogy? What is your prediction for that fight?
I believe so. Leon is sick, Leon's fight IQ and his level is world champion level, as seen. I just believe he's got a few more factors, it being in the UK, not obviously at altitude. I think these little things where he doesn't have to travel to another country, get used to a time zone. All these little things are going to play in Leon's favor. And I believe that's what's going to be the difference. And you just don't know how Kamaru Usman comes back off a knockout. I'm not saying he won't come back and be absolutely fine, but I don't think anyone knows. I don't know if he thinks he knows till he steps in there. I just don't know. It wasn't exactly like a TKO or a look. He was out cold, So it'd be interesting. It's a great fight, and I look forward to sitting there as a fan and watching it. But yeah, I've got to support the UK team, and I believe Leon gets it done.
No, of course. Well, if we turn the conversation back to yourself, Sam, obviously we're at the start of February 2023. Obviously, the prime goal is getting the victory in March. I'm sure you're not looking past that. But what are the rest of your goals for the next 12-month period? Where would you like to be come the 1st of Feb 2024?
Yeah, like you said, I'm fully focused on March 18th. I struggle to see past that day, I get so tunnel vision and focused. But I set a goal at the beginning of the year before the fight was booked. I want 3 fights this year and at least 1 bonus. And I say at least 1 bonus because I'd love 3, obviously. But that's my ultimate aim this year. I want 3 fights. I want to be active. And I think 3 fights a year in the UFC allows me enough time, enough fights, keeps me active, but also that little period in between to make improvements. So I'm not the same fighter the whole year. I'm constantly growing and getting better, So yeah, that's all I can say. Obviously, I'm fully focused on March, and you take every fight as it comes. But 3 fights this year and at least 1 bonus. That's what I'm going for.
Of course. Well, as we both mentioned, the focus is March 18th. We make your full UFC debut, and I can't wait to see it, Sam. I really can't. So thank you for the time tonight, and I wish you the best of luck for UFC 286.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you having me on again. And tune in March 18th. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Come on.
Before we finish, Sam, how can people find you on social media, and any sponsors you'd like to plug? The floor is yours for the last word.
Yeah, if you hit up Instagram, Sam Patterson 155, and I'm not going to butcher the sponsors because you always say a couple and miss a couple. So once you put it up, I will tag all my sponsors in and check them out because some of them are honestly, all of my sponsors are like great guys and great companies that I actually use personally as well, and it's not just a business move. So yeah, I'll plug them in it once you upload it. But yeah, tune in on March 18th. It's going to be a show.